on, wrestling fans? It is I, Steve Fall, and welcome to 10 Count. On today's edition, I am talking to the rising star of AEW, Wheeler Yuta. How you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. I think I talked to you in November. We were promoting Ring of Honor. And of course, coming up this weekend, there is a Ring of Honor pay-per-view on Friday. But we're talking about Blood and Guts first. AEW Dynamite is coming to Boston July 19th. Now, what can fans expect from AEW coming to the Boston Garden?
Well, I think it's always special anytime AEW comes to Boston. Obviously, I had one of my biggest matches ever against Jon Moxley in Boston, so very excited to be there. But yeah, we're going to the TD Garden. This should be one of our biggest shows ever. There'll literally be 2 rings, 2 cages. It's going to be awesome. So we're very excited, and yeah, I can't wait. I guess it's one big cage, technically speaking. It goes over 2 rings, but you got what I meant.
Of
But
course.
yeah, I think just be excited for a night of awesome pro wrestling action, some things you've never seen before, some matches you've never seen before, and I think it should be a great night.
Now, obviously, I love wrestling. You love wrestling. Let's talk to the audience who maybe is thinking about going, but has, reservations. What do you want to tell fans who have never experienced all elite wrestling, why they should come out on July 19th for AEW Dynamite at the Boston Garden?
I think that All Elite Wrestling really provides like a total package for pro wrestling. We can provide a little bit from every style. We have such a varied roster. We have men and women from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, all different wrestling styles. So it's just such a great variety. It's going to be action packed. Obviously, you'll have the Blood and Guts match with the BCC taking on the Golden Elite. And that's going to be just an absolutely incredible match to see. So I think that there's just so much variety. There's going to be something for everyone. From kids up to adults, you're going to find something in the show that you absolutely love. So just come on out and experience it for yourself.
Outstanding. Now, because Blood and Guts, there's only been 3. Well, this will be the 3rd one so far, at least on Dynamite. Now, you're talking about the Golden Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club. Now, you have experience because there's only a few people in AEW who've actually been in multiple matches like this. Last year, you were in Blood and Guts. This year in Blood and Guts, is there any experience going into this? Are you prepared? Because this seems like something that you walk into with an idea and things might turn around and flip upside down on you.
Yeah, there was definitely, I think, so last year going into Blood and Guts, that was actually my first, not just like Blood and Guts match, it was my first cage match. So it was very daunting, to go in and just be in a completely different environment. Obviously, there's so many people involved. There's all these basically mini handicap matches in the middle of it. You have one team enters, then the next team sends in like one person, and you keep alternating back and forth, but the one team gets the advantage every time. So last year against the JAS, we were also fighting like these little mini handicap matches. But yeah, like you said, that adaptability is really important. Last year, I was able to, get to the building early, kind of see the cage, kind of feel out the environment, know what I was going to be experiencing. And then the match happened, and it was not what I expected at all. There were so many just different curveballs thrown at us, so many different things that just happened, so many things that you had to prepare for that I was not expecting. Like a cameraman got thrown at me. Daniel Garcia, remember, pile drove me onto something very painful. I think it was a chair. Like there's just all sort of things. Like just when you think you're focused on one thing, something else is coming at you. Someone else is coming at you with chairs, throwing you into thumbtacks, something like that. So this year, I think that my goal is just to embrace the chaos, embrace the insanity. I know my only real goal is to beat the crap out of everyone in the Elite. So that, yes. I think will. My plan is to have less of a plan going into it and just know that it's going to be what it's going to be, and it's going to be a fight.
I think when you go to wrestling school on the first day, they don't ever tell you, hey, so we're going to learn about, body slams and punches. And, oh, by the way, tomorrow we're going to celebrate how to get a cameraman thrown at you in a steel cage. I don't think that's part of the plan. I don't think that's part of the lessons, but you never know. You never know. Now, but going back to when AEW first started, there were some criticisms of the women's wrestling division, but now it is flourishing like crazy. Now, everybody loves women's wrestling, but do you think AEW could ever have just a one-night pay-per-view showcasing just the women?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely something that AEW could pull off. Like the depth of the women's division is great. And, just speaking of it, like obviously we saw the finals of the Owen Hart tournament recently, and got to see Nightingale come out on top, and that was really awesome. Really happy for Willow. But yeah, we just have such a massive depth in our roster, and the women's division's been really killing it. So yeah, I think they're 100%. more than capable of doing that.
Now, of course, there's always celebrities trying to inch their way into professional wrestling. There are so many good athletes out there that are also artists. Now, is there someone, a celebrity? Because right now, there's a strike going on, so all these people need something to do. I think getting their ass kicked by Wheeler Yuta could be a fun little thing to do. Now, is there a celebrity who needs some work that you'd like to put in the work on?
Yeah, I'm not a really good person to ask this question to. I'm not really in on my pop culture, to be honest. Uh, you know, let me think. I can think of some people that I would like to see come to some AEW events. Maybe I'd love to see, like some members of the Phillies. I'm a big Phillies fan. That would be cool for me personally. Probably not the best podcast to mention that on in Boston, but yeah, I don't know. I think that we've been able to just kind of have all these cool interactions with different people that have come into AEW, and it's really been awesome. So yeah, I'd love to do more of that and less beating people up. I'll save that for the elite.
Because I was going to say, there's a lot of, Mike Tyson, we've had Jay and Silent Bob, we've had definitely a few other celebrities come on to AEW. So I think right now, I think it's a nice tag team match. Maybe you got Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, little Wolverine, come on in, fight the Blackpool Combat Club. Just saying, it's possible.
Yeah, I'll fight Ryan Reynolds. Sure, that sounds good.
It sounds like headlines to me. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah.
If we're trying to get clicks and people to listen, that's how you do it. You say, yes, I do want to fight Hugh Jackman. I do want to fight Ryan Reynolds, and boom.
I will fight Reynolds any place, anytime. That'll be the headline.
There you go. You just did it for us. Thank you. Thank you for playing. Though CM Punk has been back in AEW for about a few months now, and Collision has been one of my favorite additions to the wrestling programs I enjoy every single week, and he's kind of the face of this brand. Now, what's the reaction to you having CM Punk back? Have you spoken to him?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen each other a few times. It's always been great. Nothing's really changed for us. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that the locker room's very excited, to have more opportunities, to have Collision, to have 2 more hours of television. And I think that just there's a general sense of optimism, I feel like, throughout the whole locker room, a lot of motivation to kind of go out and do our thing. And now there's more opportunities to do that. And I think it's absolutely awesome. I think Collision has been, bringing something different to the table. So it's been great to see. And I think it's an awesome addition for AEW.
Yeah, agreed. I think Collision has a completely different feel as Dynamite. It's not saying one's worse than the other, but Collision reminds me of like, oh, it's 10 o'clock at night. I can stay up a little later. I can pop open another, daddy drink. I can have a good time versus I have 3 kids, so I have to describe it as daddy drinks. So, Dynamite, you're like, well, it's 10 o'clock. That was a great show, but I should probably go to bed. I got to get up tomorrow morning. But Saturday, like, Sunday, I can kick back. A completely different feel. Now, with 2 brands, I know everyone keeps asking Tony Khan about this. I've asked him at a press conference before, too. You have 2 brands, a huge roster, a draft, possibly, to split these up.
Yeah, I totally understand. Like, there's a lot of people that are very strongly in favor of having the separation. I think there's also some people that are kind of cool with people floating around. I think that one of the strong points of having something like that would be just it provides more opportunities, obviously, because the rosters are split in that way. So you're either on Dynamite or you're on Collision. I think that's great. But another thing I think has always been really cool about AEW is just that we don't really have those barriers. Not even like with other promotions, we don't really have those barriers. Like we have a show, Forbidden Door, which is a entire pay-per-view with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we've been able to work with all these other companies. And I think that a lot of that is that we don't ignore outside pro wrestling. We allow everything to sort of kind of intermingle. So some of my worry is that if it were separated, maybe it would lose a little bit of that. But then again, maybe putting those boundaries in does make it more special when the Dynamite guy goes to Collision or the Collision guy goes to Dynamite. So I can honestly go either way with this one. I think there's pros and cons to both. But I think it'd be very interesting to see if we did do that. It would certainly shake things up in AEW.
Yeah, I would like that a lot. I think because also, rumors run wild about how people are reading that there's going to be more. Now, yeah, these are rumors. More AEW monthly pay-per-views. And if you have Collision and Dynamite with 2 separate brands, pay-per-views lead you into a battle between Dynamite and Collision. Now, before we move on to the fact about them fighting each other, pay-per-views, right now, of course, we have All Out, All In. We had Forbidden Door, Double or Nothing. Like, that's 4 pretty damn close to each other versus before, I felt like they were very separated, and I'm loving the addition of more. Should we have more pay-per-views? Because more pay-per-views means, I guess, more money.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the pay-per-views. Even just like the financial thing aside, I just think that it's awesome to have more big shows. I think that we have so many, big rivalries going on, so many big matches that it's hard to fit them all on one pay-per-view. So it's really good to sort of give everyone these different opportunities. And obviously, like Wembley Stadium, that's just going to be a whole different ball game. That's just going to be completely different. That's going to be incredible. So yeah, I do enjoy having the more pay-per-views because it gives us, more opportunities to have these big matches.
Do you think that they're if you're running the company, if you're Tony, adding more just makes sense, I guess, for a wrestling audience?
I think it does, but I also think that there's a time and a place. Like I think that for these particular pay-per-views, like there are a few sort of back to back, but I also think that they're all going to be very different, like very unique.
Yeah.
So you don't want to risk where they're not special anymore. So I think that that's a very fine line to toe of you want your pay-per-views to still be very special, very important events. So I think that it does make sense to add a few more, and especially like in this case, like Forbidden Door is, like I said, it's its own beast. Wembley's its own beast. So they're all different. So I think that it only will become an issue if they all sort of feel the same. But being able to have, different things that feel special, I think is something that we've been able to pull off. So as long as we can keep doing that, add as many as we want, baby.
Yeah, because Blood and Guts is on Dynamite. Like it's I'm very happy. I'll be there July 19th, Boston Garden. I'm pumped. I'm very pumped for this. But at the same time, this probably could have been its own pay-per-view if Tony or AEW wanted it to be in July, because it's Blood and Guts. Like that alone would sell the event itself, but you get to watch it. And I guess that's what makes Dynamite so much special too, is like you're offering special events on your regular programming to hype up excitement for just your brand in general. So that does make sense. But in reality, though, Wembley Stadium is coming up, and this is a monumental, historic wrestling event, not AEW, wrestling, the world itself. Now, how excited is the locker room for this? Because this is, 10,000 people. That's very exciting. Good show. This is like 70, 80, 90,000 people screaming. This is exciting.
This is. I do want to, before I get to Wembley, I just want to raise one point from what you just said.
Yeah.
I love when we have these special matches on Dynamite because I remember being a kid, it being appointment viewing. I had to be home. I had to be in front of the TV. And I love that, where it's like there's no barrier of entry. You don't have to pay any money. Come watch this wrestling match. It's going to be awesome. So I love having that as well as something that we sneak in every now and then for AEW. But back to Wembley. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be amazing. Like the fact that we have sold as many tickets as we already have. I've lost count. I can't count that high. But the fact that we have sold as many tickets as we have has just been awesome. The locker room is super excited. Everyone just wants to do our best and be a part of that and be a part of history. Like you said, the fact that we are going over, we've sold out a stadium like in England, like a huge stadium. Is going to be an insane crowd, like just an absolutely historic venue for historic show. You think about the first All In at that building. I'm trying to think of how many that holds. I think it's like 15,000 people,
Yeah.
10,000 people maybe. And now we've literally done 9 times of that through just the hard work of the company and just grit, determination, and the growth that we've seen in such a short amount of time is absolutely incredible. So yeah, I think everyone's just really excited to be a part of it and really proud of our company for being able to pull it off.
Not one match has been announced. Not one match. And you have over 70,000 tickets being sold right now. And it's very interesting when you go on the internet and Twitter, because that's like, I remember MGF said that's like 7% of our audience. 7. So think about the other percentage. The fact that you have people trying to like poke holes in anything about the success of a company is confusing to me, because you can't deny that tickets have been sold with no matches on the card. Like, I don't care if you said, oh, I don't like that match. That's a stupid match. It doesn't matter. 70,000 tickets, no matches, AEW. To me, that's historic. That is historic. That hasn't been done in many, 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 many years. So, kudos to you and kudos to AEW. But who do you want to fight on this card? Because you obviously want to be on the card. Like, nobody wants to be backstage clapping their friends. That's great. Yeah, good job, buddy. But you want to be on that card.
Yeah, I absolutely want to be on that card. honestly, it doesn't really matter who I face. I just want to be on that card. I'm sure that the BCC will be, we'll be moving on into some other business probably once we handle the elite blood and guts. So hopefully that'll be that'll be all handled and sorted, and we can move on to someone else. I'd love to win my Ring of Honor Pure Championship back from Shibata at some point. I feel like I have a lot of unfinished business with the best friends. Orange Cassidy's right there. I think we could have an incredible match as well. We've already had one, so I'd love to face him again. Those are just some random people to throw out there, but I'd really love to just be on that card and be on that event.
So you versus Ryan Reynolds, Wembley Stadium. We've confirmed it here. We've confirmed it.
Deadpool.
We've confirmed it, folks. That's the headline in this interview. But in reality, again, Blood and Guts coming July 19th, Boston Garden. This is huge and historic because you've come around different areas, but Boston Garden has so much history with professional wrestling in general, because from going back to, the 60s and the 70s, we've had different Boston Gardens, from the Fleet Center to TD Garden, back to the Boston Garden. But this is going to be gigantic, a huge match between, again, the Golden Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. Dude, I'm so excited for this, and I hope a cameraman does not get thrown at you again. I hope you can survive this one, because that's unfair.
I'll do the cameraman throwing. Yeah.
I love it, because maybe in the new AEW video game, they could add that in where you pick up a cameraman and just whip them at someone, but maybe it's not really a safe environment for your coworkers. But in reality, who cares about them? Because you're going to win at Blood and Guts on July 19th, the Boston Garden. Wheeler Yuta from AEW, thank you so much for being here on 10 Count. I've been Steve Fall. He's Wheeler Yuta. Have a great day, and we will see you next time. Blood and Guts, baby. Bye-bye.